a sacrifice of praise. Human beings saying nice things to God, that's not the case at all. St. Paul says in Hebrews, keep on offering the sacrifice of praise, sharing what you have. It's the Christian life. And people knowingly bring to church their efforts to live the Christian life. They bring that with them to church, so to speak. And it becomes part, and the Lord Jesus embraces this, it becomes part of the offering. So we have mercy of peace. Well, that's hard to explain, but it's language from the prophecy of Hosea chapter 6, where God says through Hosea, I want mercy, not sacrifice. And peace, of course, means Jesus Christ. So it means Christ's mercy, Christ's sacrifice of love for the Father, which embraces his death. And then what the people bring, the sacrifice of praise. When was the last time you heard a sermon about that? What people bring as their offering? Yes, we bring bread and wine, but we also bring our sacrificial living. In Psalm 49, the psalmist says at the end of the psalm, the one who lives the way I say opens for, the one who offers me the sacrifice of praise opens the way for me to show him the saving power of God. It's an approximate remembrance of the psalm, but the idea is there. You look at Psalm 49, Psalm 50 in your American Bible, but Psalm 49 in the Orthodox Bible. And in other words, there's something about the sacrifice of praise, though, a way of life that makes it possible for God to reveal himself, to show a person his saving power. And this is what's involved here. First of all, in the Lord Jesus, he exemplified the sacrifice of praise by living a life, utterly in communion with the Father, preferring nothing but the love of his Father. So it led to his crucifixion. Am I forgetting your question? Losing my train of thought. The sacrifice of praise. Yes, and this mercy of Christ. It's not the original language. Up until the 14th century, we were saying mercy, peace, and sacrifice of praise. Three things. Well, we'll leave that to another time to explain. But in its present language, the wording is trying to bring together what the people bring to church and what the church is offering of Christ himself, what Christ is offering. Don't forget that Christ is the real priest. It is he who offers, and he who embraces our sacrificial living and sort of cleanses it of its imperfections, because God knows our human motivation, our desire for praise and to feel good about ourselves infect all the things we do. But nonetheless, God accepts this. And see, so the Eucharistic sacrifice is more than we think. It's not just the offering of bread and wine. It's just not, the sacrificial or the representation of the sacrificial death of Christ, which St. Nicholas Cabasilas points out is represented in the separate consecration of the bread and the wine in the Eucharist. But it's important to realize that we have something in it too. It's true today, somebody bakes the bread, the wine has to be bought somewhere, but it's, so we use money to get the wine. As I say, it's awful to have awful bread, and it's in poor taste to offer God cheap wine. But it's also in bad taste for the community to not realize what it is expected to bring. This sacrifice of praise, which is an idea of the Psalms expanded by St. Paul in Hebrews. And it's just a shorthand for the Christian life. So the guy who goes to work and does a good job, the guy who comes home and looks after his wife and children, the mother who does those things too, the children who fulfill their responsibilities and maybe once in a while actually please their parents. This is the sacrifice of praise. Doing homework, getting good grades, paying attention, even on the job. People who pay attention All these things, all these human qualities. This is the